Our media products are a film trailer, magazine cover, and poster for our film Hidden Voices. We have chosen this name for our film as it emphasizes on the idea of secrets, which is our main theme in the film. It also links to how all the people in the town, Roseville, who know of what is happening but cannot say anything. A convention is a generally accepted way of doing something. In terms of genre, conventions are certain things you'd expect to see in a movie with a certain genre. These would be the conventions of that genre. For example, conventions of a horror film would be supernatural beings, religion, tense music, or quick cuts. The genre for a film is a thriller. Thriller alone as a genre has a very wide set of conventions. Conventions can be split into two groups, syntactic and semantic. Examples of syntactic thriller conventions are quick cuts, tense music, and montage shots, whereas examples of semantic thriller conventions are the protagonist being under the mercy of the antagonist, a mystery that needs to be solved, and an antagonist with a hidden identity, which usually uncovers as the story progresses. We decided to look at a range of different thriller movie trailers to help give us a better idea of what a thriller trailer and key conventions look like. We then looked at two specific trailers in more detail as part of our research. These were Spotlight and Sinister. Post to research Spotlight in more detail, as the storyline for Spotlight was very similar to ours. It isn't very common, especially in thriller films, for the lead character to be female. This may have been one way in which we may have challenged our genre conventions. In Spotlight, the story is about a team from Boston Globe who end up uncovering a decades-long cover-up of the church molesting children, only to find out that this has not just been happening in Boston alone. This is very similar to our story, as our story is about a journalist who goes to a town named Roseville just to write a story about 4 missing children, only to find out that this has been happening for years and the church is to blame for this. Spotlight also helped give us an idea of the kind of costume the journalist in our film should be wearing, as well as props like a notepad and a pen. Sinister, on the other hand, is a horror thriller. This is about a fictional true crime writer named Ellison Oswalt, who discovers a box of home movies in his attic and finds out that every family who had lived in that house had died. This is also very similar to our story, as our main character, Lily White, is also a journalist who unknowingly uncovers the truth about a town and ends up putting her life in danger. This is an example of the convention of a mystery being solved. We showed this in our film by using mise-en-scène to emphasize the convention of a mystery, to show the characters to be finding something, as well as creating tension and suspense at the same time. One way in which we did this was by using a flashlight in a dark room. The torch represents the characters as being on the search for something and digging deep into the truth. The darkness in the room was an example of low-key lighting. This helped emphasize how dangerous this is for the character. We've also used editing techniques and lighting which are more commonly found in thrillers like quick cuts, low-key lighting, and even montage shots. We had seen many examples of these editing techniques in the Sinister trailer. Montage shots are commonly used to show time passing by. We've done this while the journalist looks through old files in a file room. We decided to use montage shots here as it would have been boring for the audience to watch the journalist looking through files for hours. This also links back to the convention of mystery and the characters looking for something. This ensured they remain interested. We used quick cuts as we found that this editing technique alone helped build a lot of tension and suspense, and that is what we were trying to go for. Another convention we saw was very common in many thrillers was the idea of the protagonist being under the mercy of the antagonist. In our teaser trailer, we have also hinted at how Lily White is under the mercy of the antagonist. We can see this more as the trailer progresses and is a result of her digging too much into the truth. One example of when we see this is when she is being followed and she has finally realized that her life is in danger. We have used handheld camera movement for this scene to emphasize that she is in danger and that something isn't right. We also see this convention being shown through dialogue. This is when the priest says, "Some things are better left alone, Mrs. White." Through this, we got a feeling that the priest has some involvement in all of this. We decided to take a close-up shot of the priest as he said this to emphasize on his expression. As he has a very serious face, it suggests that Lily White wasn't supposed to know as much as she does. We also kept this clip right at the end and without any other sound on top of it to make this one scene more effective. There were many examples of low-key lighting in Sinister's teaser trailer, which made us feel a bit tense as an audience, as we are restricted to what we can see in the room, as well as the character themselves. This therefore makes us more tense as we don't know what to expect. We also saw many examples of close-up shots of the characters in Sinister. This has been done to emphasize their emotions, especially when they were scared. We also used close-up shots in our teaser trailer, as we felt this was a lot more effective in making the audience more tense and involved. In our film, one convention we followed was the hidden identity of the antagonist. This convention was very common in the film trailers we watched, and most of the suspense was for the audience to find out who the antagonist was and why they were doing what they were doing. In our film, the antagonist is the priest. We've tried to show that no one knows he is the antagonist, or that there is no suspicion of the priest having any involvement. However, as the story progresses, we have hinted at his involvement at the end of the trailer to leave the audience at a cliffhanger and something to make them want to watch the film.